I just feel like we're in the generation where everybody thinks that they're a critic because they have a keyboard. You know, you got the keyboard warriors online. They think just because they use the word objectively that their statement actually has any more substance than it would have otherwise, which that's a word I'm starting to hate so much, objectively, even though, you know, like half the time when people say something that is quote unquote objective, it is actually their subjective opinion on a non-objective matter. An objective statement would be something like, okay, Cyberpunk 2077 had a buggy launch. You know what I mean? I'm not dissing Cyberpunk, by the way, because that is in my top 5 favorite games of all time. Like, even through its launch, you know, I played that game initially on a base Xbox One, and if you know anything about the performance on a base Xbox One, I mean, that just goes to show, like, or speak for the game's quality, I would say. You know, if I played it on a base Xbox One, and yet it's still in my top 5 favorite games of all time. But anyways, yeah, saying something like that would probably be, like, I'd say that's probably objectively true just because of how many bugs there were for a lot of people at launch, myself included. I had a bug where I got like through the first third of the game and then my save file just got corrupted and I had to restart the entire game, but I was happy to do so just because I loved the game that much, and obviously I still love the game. But half the time when people try to make quote-unquote objective takes on these games, they're all just garbage and they're all subjective anyway. And again, it's like, who cares if you have an objective statement about a game? Like, who even cares? Like, dog, it's a video game. Why does everybody need to be a critic? Why is everybody so overly critical? I mean, that goes beyond Call of Duty. That goes for so many different games, and I'd say even mediums as a whole, whether it comes to, like, movies or comic books or, like, little anime, literally anything. Like, people, like, why is everyone a critic? What happened to us just enjoying entertainment? Why does everything need to be critiqued? I actually, in my YouTube recommendations, I started clicking on either not interested or just simply don't recommend channel whenever there's something about, like, people saying, oh, how does this thing hold up in this year, or like, is this thing actually that good? Is it really that bad? Just because I'm getting so sick of like everybody being a critic. Like, dog, let's just have fun and enjoy and gush about things that we love. Why can't we just be positive? Like the statement or the saying of does blank hold up in 2020 blank? Like, I hate that saying. What do you mean does it hold up? Like, does it meet today's arbitrary standards of this or that? Because in some ways, some would say that modern takes or modern standards might actually be inferior compared to, you know, old school ones, whereas some would say vice versa. Again, it's all completely subjective, yet these people try to act like their opinions are completely objective, and you know how people are, right? How human beings are. They just believe everything they read online. They read one thing that some person says, and therefore they just kind of go on and spout the same garbage, and it's an echo chamber. I've said this many times before, but that's the reason that I stopped using social media, like, a while ago. The whole perception of the prequels has changed over time, and that's definitely been helped with the sequels releasing, and I'm not here to say that the sequels are either good or bad, you know, that's a discussion for a whole other day, and furthermore, it's a discussion that doesn't matter, because once again, it's a completely subjective conversation. If you want to say that them bringing back Palpatine and Rise of Skywalker was an objectively bad move, you're completely and utterly wrong in that, because in somebody else's subjective opinion, that might have been the best thing that Star Wars ever did. Art is completely subjective, and your interpretations and your opinions on that are all completely subjective, and you're entitled to your opinion, just don't try to pass it around as fact, because it's not.